If you were born anytime after the year 2000, you've most certainly seen this. Even if you didn't watch the show, you've seen the intro. Even though American Idol was far from the first reality show to grace the small screen in North America, it helped pave the way for the mid-2000s addiction that would span well into the 2010s. Reality TV hadn't just seduced its audiences, no, it had full-on abducted the imaginations of the entire world. Literally anything could have a reality show. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of different reality shows from that era that were all popular. So to make things a little easier to swallow, we kind of look at this as like a general overview of the mid to late and a little bit of the early 2000s era of reality TV. We're going to kind of look at the mindset of the people of that time and kind of look at what it ultimately evolved into. It is an interesting time frame for sure that is more or less written off as simply trash media. They're not wrong. It did, however, captivate audiences and got the whole world talking. For the first time, people could see the real-life, quote-unquote, non-scripted lives of the people like you and me. And whether you want to believe it or not, the ideas of this era would eventually morph and evolve into the various social media platforms we all know and love today. Because let's be real, we're all nosy as fuck and want to see what everybody else is doing. Or we can't wait to tell other people what or who we are doing. Before the advent of YouTube, for better or worse, we had reality TV. Before we get into some of the more weird and obscure reality shows, I'm looking at you Stan Lees Who Wants to Be a Superhero, we may as well start at what I consider the jump starter of modern reality TV, American Idol. It premiered on June 11, 2002. I'm not going to talk down to you. If you lived in the US during the mid-2000s, you know what American Idol is. But if you don't for some reason, I'll kind of sum it up quick. American Idol brought contestants from all across the country to compete in a singing competition in an attempt to get a music contract. Simple enough, right? Well, that's not where the addictive side to the show came from. It was in fact two key elements. They allowed the people at home to text in and vote on who did the best each week. With texting being mostly a new thing, the interactability on a live TV show was unprecedented and meant people would tune in week after week as they seemingly had a personal stake in the show. And the second key factor was that we all loved watching Simon Cowell be an asshole.
You just killed every cat in Denver.
By today's standards, he's pretty tame, but at the time, this record producer was pretty cutthroat and ruthless. He spoke how he felt and he didn't give a fuck about what others thought. What made him so much more interesting to watch was that he wasn't playing a part. He was legit, ultimately paving the way for other angry British television show hosts in the future.
Donkey's Kitchen, should we change the fucking logo?
Again, I think that touched a lot of people because what made this so captivating was that anyone could be a star. American Idol would have its final season, holy shit, it's still going? Although American Idol has the basic structure of a talent show, you can see the influence of many reality-based channels today on YouTube. From the overcritical content creators to even the talented people performing songs and music covers on YouTube. You can trace a lot of these roots back from American Idol. Now, American Idol wasn't the only contest-style show to just seemingly never fucking want to go away. Oh no, there was literally a metric shit ton more out there. Who could forget Survivor, where they would get a bunch of regular people and strand them out in the middle of some place in order to be named the sole survivor. As a reality-based television show, its legitimacy has been questioned over the years. However, at the time, it didn't stop us from being glued to our seats every single weekend, just watching different drama unfold. It was really like nothing we'd ever seen before. That is another huge factor on what makes or breaks a reality show. How much drama can be infused to keep the audience hooked? Even other competition-style shows like Big Brother, WWE's Tough Enough, hell, even the UFC's Ultimate Fighter show knew that if you had drama, you could really sell a show. And yes, in 2006, there was even a show called Who Wants to Be a Superhero? This goes to show how powerful Stan Lee was. The man literally created a show where he got regular people to dress up as their OCs, or original characters if you don't know what OCs is, and run around in these made-up, like, superhero scenarios to try to save people, all in an attempt to get their own comic book character made. Stan Lee was a fucking god. This was right around the time cosplay was beginning to become a thing people took seriously on the internet. Mainstays like Jessica Negri were still relatively small, but growing in popularity. Honestly, I kind of feel like the show came out a little bit too early. I think if it would have come out like 2, maybe 3 years later, I honestly feel like it would have been way more successful than it was. In my opinion, the biggest downfall of the show wasn't necessarily the premise itself, but more or less the characters themselves. Sure, the people playing the heroes did fine for the most part. They were average people, but the heroes themselves were pretty generic. I won't spoil who wins. It's a 3-second Google. But even back in the day, when I tried to picture any of these superheroes having a chat with, say, like Spider-Man or the X-Men, I could legit never see it. With the thriving cosplay community out there, this is one reality show that, if it came back today, could perhaps make a better product with a ton more talent to work with. I can hear all the people out there. Yeah, and I hear you. You're not here necessarily for the contest-style reality shows. Those are too tame for you, right? Oh no, you want the really, really mind-numbing shit, right? You want the reality-based show. Okay, well, I'm gonna give it to you. But if we're gonna go there, we're gonna have to actually take a trip back to 1992, because 1992 would probably be the year that the godfather of all reality shows will start. That is the real world. What the hell is the real world? Well, honestly, I've never watched it. However, it was basically a show where a bunch of roommates would live in a house together. This being reality TV, I guess hijinks would ensue. And there would be drama and stuff would happen. I don't know, stuff like this never really grabbed me. I don't know, I guess if I wanted something that was gonna like melt my brain from just pure fucking reality TV sake, I don't know, I guess I wanted something a little more structured in terms of like plot and plot development, which I'll kind of contradict myself here in a minute, so just wait for that. But you know, to each his own. Reality-based shows were big, and the real world was a fucking huge success. No, seriously, it really can't be argued that the real world didn't help inspire all the other reality-based media that would follow. Hell, there are whole ass YouTube channels just based around people living their lives. And that's literally it. The real world would have its final season on 2017? Are you fucking kidding me? It even came back in 2019 for a Facebook series. Holy shit. Oh, but we're not at the best shit yet. Who remembers Paris Hilton?
That's hot.
Hey, you can lie and pretend all you want. You're not fooling anybody but yourself, but we both know that you know that catchphrase. Her show, The Simple Life, at one time was one of the most talked about shows in pop culture. And it was all based around Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, two socialites who were put into simple situations. Hey, give reality TV credit where it's due. There was literally no mystery about what you were watching, because when you tuned it in, you knew exactly what you were gonna get. Each season they'd go live on a farm or something of that nature. Drama and hijinks would ensue. You are seeing a pattern with these shows, right? Again, another show I didn't watch because honestly I couldn't stand Paris Hilton or Nicole Richie at the time. However, it can't be understated how important this show was. If anything, through Simple Life, we would learn of Kim Kardashian, who would later become famous in her own right after her own sex tape with artist Ray J was leaked onto the internet. Very similar to Paris Hilton. Nowadays, we all know how influential Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kylie Jenner, and fuck, even Kanye West is like attached to them, and it really is something that I want to dive into a little bit more because there's so much there to unpack, but I gotta draw the line somewhere when it comes to stuff. So maybe I'll kind of look back at the whole Kardashian empire in some other like future date, but there was one really trash show that I did watch. Ah, yes. The single greatest and yet worst TV show of all time. Seriously, if you've never watched this show before, holy fuck, you are missing out. I actually saw this show for the first time at a buddy of mine's house back in high school. He randomly put it on and I was like, you actually watch this shit? He looked at me, smiled and said, dude, if you haven't seen this, just wow. And then the show started.
Hater! Listen, you ruined my life! I hate you! We're leaving! The party's off! Shut up!
Self, and I look like a dumbass because none of my friends are there.
When I saw the black car sitting there, I was like, yeah, I have that car already. Thanks.
We thought that she may need something to drive around for the weekends, too.
Marissa just got another car.
Yeah, another
car with this party.
You move for any reason, if you're dying of a bladder infection, frankly, I don't care.
Class personified. How could you not love the exploits of various spoiled teenage girls getting the sweet 16 of their fucking dreams, and it's somehow not being enough? I have no idea to this day how this show got greenlit, and even more so, like, a credit to the producers, how they kept finding girls to come on this show and just be a part of it. Like, I seriously have no idea how they were able to keep doing that. But it's gold. Funny enough, when you really think about it though, it kinda makes sense, as most of these girls probably just wanted the clout of being on their own TV show, similar to how nowadays TikTok bots or Instagrammers will get involved with whatever stupid trend could possibly earn them brownie points from their peers. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Before moving on, I guess I should also mention Jersey Shore, everyone's favorite dysfunctional group of quote-unquote friends in Jersey. However, like the Kardashians and Simple Life, my exposure to it was very limited, to say the least. I had a lot of friends back in the day that would seriously never, ever stop talking about this show. Like, it was genuinely crazy how much they were sucked into this, and a lot of it was because of the drama that was involved. I would hear a lot about that aspect they would talk to. So I guess I just missed the boat on that, because to this day, I've still never sat down and watched an episode. From what I gather, the show was influential in its own right, but only really along the same lines as, say, like The Real World or other shows of a similar topic. Definitely gonna need to do a deeper dive on these subgenres in the future. However, that doesn't mean this batshit insane Willy Wonka tunnel showcase of reality TV is over. Oh, no. Because literally anything could have had a reality show back in the day. Ah, yes. Love-based reality shows. Because nothing spells true love like going in front of a camera in front of the entire world, looking like a complete asshole in a bid for romance. There is so much to dig into here, and a lot of it I actually didn't know existed. Like parental control, for example, where parents who hated their kid's current boyfriend or girlfriend would try to pair them up with other boys or girls that they approved of in an attempt to break them out of their relationship. Then there was also Boy Meets Boy, where a gay man would try and find love, however the twist was half of them were actually straight. You also had Next, which basically just took a bunch of different people, shoved them on an RV, and then had them come out one by one and do almost like a speed dating type of show. Then you had The Bachelor, which is still running to this day, where female contestants would try to win the heart of a lucky suitor. Be honest, if you watch this show, it's because of the drama. Probably the most popular, aside from The Bachelor, were the celebrity dating reality shows. There was A Shot of Love with Tila Tequila, where men and women would attempt to woo the heart of the title character, who was famous because of MySpace. Fuck, this show is old. But to me, the king of celebrity reality dating shows was the one, the only... So, alright, I have alluded to this show a lot in this video. I'm not even gonna pretend. I have. I've thrown a bunch of clips in, right? And I'm gonna be real with you guys. I fucking loved this show. I honestly can't tell you why either. Most of the women were super trashy, wanted tons of attention, and in one case were legitimately trying to propel their own career. I think what really sold this show for me was Flavor Flav's earnestness to find someone to genuinely make him happy. So growing up, I was one of those metal kids. You know, I listened to a lot of heavy metal, death metal, shit like that. And it's mostly because my parents were super into metal. At the very least, that was like their music of choice. Especially my dad. So in that regard, you know, he showed me a lot of different metal musicians, metal groups, and one of them was Anthrax. It was through Anthrax that I discovered Public Enemy, because back in the day, Public Enemy and Anthrax did a collaboration on an amazing song called Bring the Noise. It's actually one of the most influential, in my opinion, one of the most influential rap metal songs, because it essentially pioneered the entire subgenre of itself. You can actually attribute it to a lot of other genres as well, too, even rap. I actually look at it even going into like rap and country and shit like that, because without rap and metal like combining and doing its own thing, I don't actually see it sparking up. But that's a whole other topic, another story. But it was through this song that I became a huge fan of Public Enemy. Chuck D and Flavor Flav. fucking love those artists. Maybe because of my respect for him, but I wanted to actually see him find someone that made him happy, because I genuinely get invested in the show. Considering the show would have 3 seasons, I don't think it worked out in his favor. I'm a bit off the cuff, but I actually remember back in the day my dad making a comment how Flavor of Love was one of the dumbest ideas for a show he'd ever seen, right? Well, what's hilarious about that is Flavor of Love was so successful that it eventually had its own spin-off called Bret Michaels' Rock of Love, which, spoiler alert, it's the exact same fucking show as Flavor of Love. You just swap out Flavor Flav with Bret Michaels, right? And what's even more funny about that is I remember distinctively my parents every single week watching the show and absolutely loving it. So, you know, irony much, right? Or hypocrisy? I don't know. Either way, to each his own, I guess. After the Love reality TV shows, what's left? Well, there isn't a specific set of criteria, as a lot of different things could, in fact, be reality shows. However, the last 2 I'll mention today definitely have counterparts today on the internet. Pawn shops and reactions. Starting with pawn shops, the obvious go-to would be Pawn Stars. It was huge on the Discovery Channel, so much so today memes are still being made about some of the crazy prices the guys at Pawn Stars would attempt to offer the people that would come in for genuinely priceless items. At the time, there were plenty of imitators out there, like Hardcore Pawn, which drama-wise, honestly, kind of thought was a little bit better. And countless others that focused on the drama more than the products. And to me personally, when it came to Pawn Stars, I was more interested in the weird fucking crazy items these people would bring in, rather than the drama, because the drama on Pawn Stars honestly was pretty tame. When I think of how Pawn Stars would showcase rare and valuable items for sale, I'm reminded of the many collector-style YouTube channels you see out there. For example, one of my personal favorites would be the Happy Console Gamer, and he talks about his different collections of video games. We all know at least one different channel that's like that. I know it's more popular in like the gaming sector. I see a lot of gaming collection channels out there, more so than I see like other like off-the-wall type things, but I mean, there are so many different things that people have hobbies in and are passionate about. If you typed it in YouTube, I guarantee you can find somebody, at least one person, that's into the same type of thing that they collect that you are. Now, I'll be real. I think even if Pawn Stars never existed, there would still be collection type channels. In all honesty, it's a pretty normal thing that people over the decades have done. They've collected stuff and like to show people different things. Pretty normal thing to want to do that, especially when you have access to like YouTube and various different social media platforms. However, reaction channels are a whole different story. Sure, the guys from the React channel may have hit it big and even tried to trademark React at one point, but let's be real, their entire format was essentially lifted from... Yeah, I used to watch the hell out of this show. The quick cuts from person to person giving their opinions on a topic, wonderful. There are some slight differences with the I Love series and the React-based channels. In the I Love series, they focus mostly on various celebrities giving their reactions to different pop culture events or different items or things like that, while the React channels mostly are everyday people who are reacting on various topics. Some might argue that the I Love the 80s or the I Love series is more akin to like a documentary style series. However, I'd argue these were pseudo-documentary / reality TV shows. There wasn't really a story trying to be told. There were no scripts or anything of that sort. They were catching the raw feelings of various celebrities and then replaying it to the audiences that would watch it. Not too dissimilar to other reality shows, but I think I have definitive proof. Probably the most important reason that I can genuinely think of, and the one that clearly proves above all else that the I Love series was a reality show, is that it's because I fucking said so. Either way, through I Love the 80s, reaction channels were born and has become a pastime on the internet. It is questionable at times, but it was certainly a byproduct of this time frame. So I've had some fun looking back at a lot of these different reality-based television shows and poking a little bit of fun here and there, but I do want to make things clear. Back in the day, I genuinely enjoyed the fuck out of a lot of these different shows. I don't know, there was just something about sitting with my family once a week, watching Survivor, American Idol, or hell, even Rock of Love, just turning off our brains and enjoying the drama. Funny enough, I remember at the time there were a lot of so-called experts that were saying reality TV was kind of like the death of society and that how it was rotting everybody's brains, it was killing the minds of the youth and the people, and people were becoming too obsessed with reality TV, and that may be true to a certain degree. But look back a couple of years, they said the same exact thing about wrestling. A couple years before that, they said the same exact thing about Pokemon. A couple years before that, they said the same exact thing about Mortal Kombat. You know, and then I realized, fuck them. Reality TV was the same as any other form of media where people can use it as escapism. And you know, you're on the right track when people want to fight you about it. Hey, if you still watch American Idol or The Bachelor, then enjoy it. You know, if anybody tries to say otherwise, honestly, fuck them. You know, like, you like what you like and you shouldn't have to try to justify that. Well, that's my opinion anyway. But anyway, if you don't mind me, I am going to be sitting over here chilling, hoping and praying for the day that we get a Season 4 of Flavor of Love. Seriously, if you are the producers out there, I want a Season 4. Anyway, my name is Nick. Thanks for watching.
Gonna spread my wings. It's my chance to shine.